Hi everyone, it's Leona with Leona's Designs, and welcome to another Scripture Pockets 2026, where we make 52 different pockets with 52 different scriptures from a different book of the Bible every week. And this week we are on number 5, and I have a really cute, exciting, I think, pocket for you to create and a great verse. So our verse this week is Joshua 24:15, which says, "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And the pocket that I have come up with for us to create today goes along very well with that verse. It is a little house pocket. Isn't it cute? I had so much fun making this, and it's so easy, and you can be so creative. The one I made, I used a junk mail envelope, and I just created all the designs on it. This is the back of the junk mail envelope. All the designs on it are just scraps that I had on hand. I added a little Velcro here to keep the roof shut. And on the inside, I put our verse tag. Joshua 24:15, "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And there's room on the back for writing your notes. And it fits right in there. And we have our little house. So I'm going to show you how easy and fun it is to create one just like this. Won't be exactly like it because you're going to put your own creative spin on it with your scraps, but I will show you the basics. So let me get all my supplies together and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a bunch of scraps here and just also some whole sheet scrapbook paper that maybe I'm going to use to make this little house. I've got this junk mail envelope that I'm going to use. I have a ruler, my scoring tool, my bone folder, I should say, scissors, some glue sticks, a pencil, another scissors, and these hearts that I traced on some scrap cardstock that I'm using for the chimney. I got this idea for this house and the chimney. The whole idea came from Lilian Guerrero. She has a channel on YouTube where she has created these little house envelope pockets in all different styles. She started out with mixed media house envelope pockets, and she's branched out to make all different styles, like Valentine houses, Christmas houses, little mini houses, so many different ones. And I think they're all so cute and they're easy to make. So I'm really appreciative of her idea and her inspiring me to use this little house for our verse this week. So I'm going to link her channel in the description box so you can go visit her and check out all her little different houses if you want to. Perhaps you already know her. She's been on YouTube for a while. But if you haven't, I encourage you to go check her out. So this little heart was her chimney style, and I just made some and traced them on cardstock. This was my first house I made. It's kind of a mixed media house because I used some of my painted jelly plate papers for this, and this little heart I had in some scrapbook paper, so I traced that to use for future hearts. And let's get started with creating our house for the Lord that Joshua was talking about. So the first thing to do is get a junk mail envelope or a number 10 envelope, either window or just plain. Doesn't matter if it has a window, you can cover the window up. I'm using a junk mail envelope, and mine, it hasn't been sealed. So I'm just going to seal that. So if you have one that hasn't been sealed, just seal it shut. And then we're going to make our roof. And I found that 2.5 inches is a good size to bend down for your roof. So if you want to measure, you can. I usually just eyeball it, but this would be about 2.5 inches right here. And then just score that down. And then this part's going to be our roof. So then open that back up, and then just trim a little hair off the top of this edge of the envelope right here, just so we can get it open. Because now we're going to cut down the sides of this roof part all the way down to where we have this fold line, and then just beyond it, I would say just about 1/4 of an inch beyond this fold line. Excuse me. We want to cut down. So I'm just going to measure about that far and put a little mark. And that's where I want to cut down to on each side. Just a little sliver. Trim that off. Right to there. And on this side, the same thing. So now we can open that up. We can bend it down to where we trimmed it. And we're going to cut it off there. So bend it here. And then trim this off right here, right where we cut it to. And then we have this piece we can save. And then we have this part is our roof. And this part is going to be our pocket. And the reason we measured down a little ways from the fold is so we have a little extra room to put our fingers in the pocket. Okay, so now we can start covering our house and decide what paper you want to use for your roof. I think for my roof, I want to use this paper. So I'm going to measure, it's about 3 3/4. So I'm just going to measure a strip that's about 3 3/4. And I'm going to cut that strip, hopefully straight. Cut or tear. Just tear it, easier. All right, so now this should be the right size, I hope. And it looks like it is. So now when you have your strip, what you want to do is take one end of it and kind of slide it down into that pocket, just a little ways. Because then we're going to glue it down and bend it back. So first, let's glue it. Let me move these scraps out of the way. And get my glue book here. Now we've put it down in this pocket a little ways. And we're going to glue this flap now. I'm going to put some glue right on there. All over. Slide this down a little ways into that pocket. Probably about a ½ inch. Line it up and press it down. Now we just turn it over to the back, and we're going to bend this over and glue it down here on the back. Probably about halfway down. So we can just kind of guesstimate, I guess. And just fold it right there. And then just guess about where to cut it off. Just going to cut it right here. And then we can glue that down. Got a little crooked there, but it doesn't matter because this is the back of our envelope. So now we turn it back to the front. And we bend it down where we originally had it. Not right here where our pocket starts, but we bend it down just a little above that where we originally bent it because we want a little space there. Okay. So there we have our roof. It opens up and we have our pocket. And we have this glued down on the back. And we don't have to cover this back because we're going to glue this part into our journal. So now we can cover the front of our house. And I think I'm going to cover the front with this brick-looking scrapbook paper. So I'm going to measure it again. About the same width. And I'm gonna, measure it. It's about 3 3/4. And actually, I think I'm going to cut a little bigger, 4 inches, and then I can fold over the sides some, which would be good. So I'm measuring it a little wider than the envelope, and then I will fold over the sides. And hopefully I have it straight. Okay, so now we're going to glue all the way up to here where our pocket starts. And we're going to glue this whole section, and then we're going to bend this over onto the back of our envelope again. So I'm just going to put glue all along this front. Line this up. No, maybe I didn't leave enough on the sides to bend over. We'll see. If I didn't, I'll just trim it off. Okay. Now we're going to put a little glue here on the back. And bend this over. Just going to snip some of it off. And now I'll trim it because there isn't enough on the sides to bend over. But you could leave enough on the sides to bend over if you wanted to. I'm going to trim this carefully because I don't want to cut the sides of the envelope. Okay. And then, if you want to, you can round these corners of the house, or you can leave them straight. I think on this one I did round the corners, but you know, it doesn't matter, because if you're going to cover the roof with a little scallop or awning, some lace, probably not going to see the corners anyway. So now we can start decorating our house. We can make a door. Just cut a rectangle for a door. And I cut a heart for a window. I have a heart punch. And I made this little like mailbox sign. And I drew some flowers. I added some decoration to the roof, and I made a heart chimney. So it's just however you want to do it, however you want to create, be creative. So thinking this might make a cute door. I think this was off a junk mail envelope. And I'm going to get my punch, and I'm going to punch a heart out for the window. If you don't have a heart punch, you could always just draw a little heart, or just make a square window. I think maybe I'll use this for the window. That's pretty cool. This would make a good window, I think. And maybe I won't use this for the door. Maybe I'll use this for the door. I'm just going to cut. Let's see. I think I'll cut this for the door. make a pretty door. A little long. And a window. And I'm going to cut one of these out and cover it for the chimney. A little wonky heart, but you know, if you don't want to use this for your chimney, you could always just make a regular rectangle or square or different kind of heart. I think I'll use this to cover it. Need a different glue stick here. And cover this heart right here. Just some glue and use that for my chimney. Anyway, I think this is very fun. I mean, so many ways that you can decorate the house. So there's my chimney and my heart and window and my door. And I think I might use some lace there, or I might use this for a little awning. I think I could cut this down a little bit. Or use it like this, just bend it over. See how that would work. Ah, I think that would look very cute. Very cute. So let's glue that on there. Just going to measure it first and cut it off. And put some glue. Where's my glue stick? And slip that on there. And maybe put a little lace on top. Maybe not. Just gonna, I think I'll ink this first. Before I glue this down, get my ink. And ink that a little bit. All right. Get this glued down. We don't have to worry about the back of the chimney since we're going to glue this to our page, but we just want to glue the bottom part of the chimney down. because we want it to bend with that roof. Let me bend it back. All right, let's glue the door and the window. And we have to make a doorknob of some sort. And where did my window go? Oh, here it is. Cute. Cute. So far, so good. Now I just need to make a doorknob. Not sure how I'm going to do that. Maybe just with a black pen. Right here. And then I'm going to get my marker and trace around these. Okay, I just drew around the door and the window. I drew around the other things just to accent them so they stood out. And now you would want to make your tag for inside. I used an old file folder that I just cut just a little bit thinner than this width of this pocket, and just a little bit higher so that it kind of stuck up above. And so it would just slide in and out easily. And you would see that there was something in the pocket. I mean, if you wanted to, you could cut a little notch here, but I chose not to. And then I closed my roof with a Velcro, but you wouldn't have to. So you would just make your tag and write the scripture on it if you choose to. On the outside of the house, you could maybe decorate with some flowers down here, like I did here. Or you can leave it plain. Or you could make a little sign like I did. You could even take some washi tape and make it like grass. I think I might do that right there with this washi tape. Just put that right there. Kind of looks like there's some grass and flowers there. That looks kind of nice. I just got to trim that off a little better. But you get the idea. So I hope you enjoy making your little houses or house for the Joshua 24:15 verse. I hope you enjoyed watching and you were inspired to try to make one of these little houses yourself. And I appreciate you watching. I hope to see you next week for week 6, whatever we're going to do, whatever scripture we have, whatever pocket we're going to create. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, have a blessed day. And as for me and my house, I am choosing to serve the Lord, and I'm assuming you are too. Have a blessed week. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Bye-bye.